comfort zone. Meet some people.
I'm gonna do all the ass kicking you want. I'm just gonna make this clear right now. No running.
See if there's an instruction manual in the glove compartment. Glove compartment? Mexican, this ain't your daddy's El Dorado.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is a movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Hope you enjoyed last week's interview with actor, and I think he should be a comedian, James Moses Black. We talked about his hit new movie that he's in, starring Nicolas Cage, Renfield, also his beginnings when he was doing stand-up in the early 90s, opening up for the Kings of Comedy, your Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, and he had a great story about doing the DJing for Bernie Mac when he used to have that part of his set. And then just so many stories from his acting career and films that he has coming up. Great chat. So you got to make sure you check that out. And he's in this week's sequel. I didn't see him in it, and he didn't really want to talk about this movie too much. I don't know why, but yeah.
Well, I know why.
So, whoa. Okay. Oh, that's the voice of Jamie. Before I introduce him, I'm going to introduce the movie, Badasses on the Bayou. Amazing that a YouTube video led to 3 movies, and I'm really happy that they exist. So without further ado, I did introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Doug. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It's great to do another Trejo movie. This is our second Trejo. We got, I'm wearing, if you're watching this, I'm wearing my twins shirt that I made, in honor of his amazing, flawless dummy from Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.
I mean, I really wouldn't call that a Trejo movie. I mean, he's in it for 5 seconds.
He's
for 5 seconds?
Yeah, 5 seconds. But great 5 seconds.
I mean, so if you're in a movie for like 3 seconds, you could say it's, whatever stand-in or whatever background actor, it's their movie.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're in it.
Oh, okay.
They're in it.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say about this movie. And I know we were supposed to have a guest, our action expert on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not feeling well. And honestly, it's probably better that he's not on the podcast because this is not an action movie. So to have an action expert on a non-action movie would not make sense.
You're right. You know what? Going into this, looking at the trailer, I thought there was more action. There isn't.
I think your intro had more action. I think your intro showed all the action for the whole movie.
It was like one of those trailers that gives away the whole movie. You're like, man, I can't wait to see it. It's like, oh, everything was in the trailer. I know everything that happened. But I had fun watching this movie. It wasn't. It gave a vehicle to seeing 2 people that I love on screen together. It was almost like if Mel Gibson was in the Trejo role, it would be what I would think Lethal Weapon 5 would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a part in this movie that Danny Glover acts like Murtaugh near the end of the movie. Like he has like a speech when he's yelling. He reminded me of Totally. But I don't know if this is like, did we really need a Danny Glover, Danny Trejo movie? Basically grumpy old man. I mean, this is like a grumpy old man. I feel like their chemistry is not the greatest, I think. And I don't know what kind of role that Danny Glover is playing in this movie, but he creeped me out multiple times. I mean, he's so horny in this movie, and he's hooking up with these young, beautiful women,
Dude.
Which makes no sense. I mean, that last scene when he's kissing her was gross.
Oh my God.
And I don't understand his outfit in this movie. Like,
what do you mean? His tracksuit that he's wearing? He's like, it's like a mixture of like he doesn't work out because he says, I don't run, but he's
multiple
wearing
times.
a tracksuit and a sweatband.
So, I mean, I would think both of them would try to go somewhat undercover and not, stick out. And they totally stick out throughout the whole movie. At least Danny Trejo's wearing camo. So, if he's in the woods, you can't really see him. But what, they went to a thrift store. He had a choice of anything to wear. He chose the most 80s looking outfit to go interrogate people. Like I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand what they were going for with that. It's like they ran out of costumes. They're like, just put something together. Whatever you wear.
We brought the wrong wardrobe. We bought the. But no, I have to. Now that you mention it, now I gotta talk about this. I've seen a lot of Danny Glover movies in my life, and he was married in. Obviously, he's married in the Lethal Weapon movies. I don't remember even kissing his wife. Maybe like a kiss on the cheek. The fact that he's making out with a girl that's 50 years younger than him, and the fact that we had the beginning scene and it was like him flirting with her. And mind you, the reason he's walking through there is to take a shit,
which somehow goes away. As soon as he saw the girl, it went away.
I know.
Because he had to go so bad that he basically was walking funny down the plane, down the aisle of the plane. And when he's making out with the girl at the end of the movie, he's making out with the girl.
Oh,
it's not even like I mean, there's saliva being swished around, and like it was gross. It was really like it just looked weird because he looks so much older than her. It was just off.
But she was into it. She
was
let
very
the kiss
into it
first. She's probably like, but no. The fact that the conversation was funny, I thought it was gonna be like horny old man hitting on girl. She like gives him the time of day. But when she goes, man, with my business travel, I just don't have time for a relationship. But one night stands, how about you? And he's like, 1 night, 2 nights, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the theme, because even John Amos's wife was also frisky. Like
she grabbed his ass at the end of the movie. Yeah. John Amos is like in good shape.
He's a big guy too. So like, I feel like, see, I don't know. I feel like it would have been, I don't know. Like to me, Danny Glover's a big guy. Like he's very tall. Danny Trejo clearly is not that tall. He looked like a little kid next to when he's wearing his baseball hat, and like he literally, there's a scene when they're standing there and Danny Trejo, first of all, okay. Danny Trejo's a guy that he can only wear certain things and he looks okay. He cannot wear a suit. He looked awful in that suit. Like, he looked awful wearing a baseball hat. Like he looked like if he's wearing a vest with no sleeves, that's Danny Trejo. He can wear that. When he's dressed up, it just doesn't look right on him. He's just too gruff looking, and like he looked like a marionette. He looked like a puppet. Like it was just it was
he looked
weird.
like Droopy. Like when we were texting.
He did.
Today,
he did look like Droopy.
You sent that photo of him in that bluish tux, and he looked like Droopy. He looked like very sad.
Okay, so that tux was very, again, 80s also. Does this movie take place in the 80s between Danny Glover?
No, the internet. The internet's around.
Okay. All right. So that's his choice of a tuxedo or suit. It
wasn't his choice. Remember, Lonnie Love.
Okay.
John Amos set everything up.
Okay, that's her choice of a.
Well, no,
suit?
I think it was. Maybe it was. I'm sure it was her choice because it was her wedding. But John Amos, like, I think we got suits that fit you guys. Like, really? Like, you really just have. It's not your suit,
yeah.
Because you don't have. I don't think you have a really short suit from when you were maybe like 12 for a day.
And it fit them perfectly. Everything he had, like we find out in every movie. Somehow, I mean, most people when they go get a suit or they try it on, they have to the sleeves are too long. They have to tailor the pants. And never in these movies, everything fits perfectly. Again, The Terminator beats up a guy, fits perfectly.
Ghoulies. A pile of clothes fall on him, fits perfectly.
That's a different story because the fact that they had miniature clothes in their laundry pile was a little weird. But yeah.
Oh man, well, let's get in this movie because honestly, this is like these are what I love about movies that we cover because there's a lot to talk about and there's like a lot to actually discuss, and it's like it's I don't know. To me, it was interesting the whole movie, and there was like these little tidbits, and there's an M. Night Shyamalan twist that I do not want to mention until we get to the end.
Okay, I honestly knew it the minute he started talking. I knew that was going to be something. That was not twisty for me. I mean, obviously they're going for it, but I'll tell you what the twisty part to me, and there was a big twist, is you have. I saw the first movie, and that was like a lot of action. Like that was good. Like it was a little darker, okay. Right? I believe so. I saw it a while ago. I don't remember it being comedy. I remember it being more just guide, almost like a Death Wish. Like he was going around being a vigilante. What the twist was in this movie is you see these credits that started the movie. It was very Tarantino-ish. The way they had these like clips of all the other movies, the previous movies, the action scenes. It was like in the way they had the clips was like behind the credits. Like it was very cool. So I'm thinking like, all right, this is going to be an action movie. This is going to be pretty cool. You know, Danny Trejo is just going to be, and then it becomes a comedy. It's 90% comedy, 10% or tries to be comedy, and 10% action. That was a twist to me.
Comedy.
Okay. So that was the twist. Like me going in there thinking it to be an action movie, and it turns out to be a comedy.
How much action did you think they could do for 90 minutes, both of them?
Listen, Death Wish. I mean, to me, not that it's loaded with action, but even the action here was kind of comedy-ish, and just like I don't know. There's really the action was very little in this movie. It really was.
Well, let's talk about it. Okay. So, so the way it starts is ridiculous when they're going to get a loan. Okay. So they're going to get a loan for, so I remember I watched the beginning of the first one, Badass, and it was really slow. Right. That's all I remember it was really slow, really telling the story. He like owned a food cart. And then obviously in this one, I think he owned like a food, like even like a restaurant or like and what's his name? Bernie owned a liquor store. So that's maybe how they became buddies in the second one. I might have to watch the second one to find out. But the argument they're having, and then I know where we get the bank robbery. You have like professionals coming in, right?
So these are guys that seem like, and we see again, same thing with Murtaugh and Riggs, always something going on wherever they are. Yeah. The fact that they're okay. First of all, this is a guy who's been a vigilante for 2 movies now, right? He's taken matters in his own hands. He's clearly not a law enforcement, so he's doing things illegally. Yet he's able to still, walk around as being famous because everybody recognizes him, and he's able to do what he does still. The cops don't look for him. They're okay with the lifestyle that he has.
Well, I think they are. In the first one, they were like giving him ride-alongs.
Right. Are you talking about in the first one? Yeah, I don't know. Yes. Yeah. Right. Okay. So then you have these professional bank robbers. You're right. That are robbing it. And there's multiple people here.
Yeah.
And again, these are just war veterans. I mean, I don't know if Danny Glover was. I know that.
I don't think so. No. He was a nom. Trejo was a nom.
Right.
Danny Glover was nothing.
Okay. Right. Okay. So he's nothing, and Danny Trejo is just a war veteran. So yes, I mean, Vietnam. You're tough. You're still tough, but like these guys are like John Wick and Jason Bourne. Like they're basically could take on anybody, and you got to assume Danny Glover's got to be in the 70s. Danny Trejo is probably in the 60s, and I would say Danny Glover's in the 70s.
I would say they're both in their 70s. Easy.
Okay. So they're both in the 70s.
Yeah.
How bad of a criminal do you have to be to constantly get beat up by a bunch of 7-year-olds? 2 7-year-olds.
Oh, I know. No, there's the funniest thing about this movie, and we'll get to like the kind of the end of my point. They beat up every unknown henchman in this movie, but have trouble with the other people, which we'll get to. But it's funny that the comparison, and that's why I thought of obviously you think of Danny Glover, you think of like Murtaugh. But the reason that I really thought about it would be perfect, it was almost like a script for Murtaugh and Riggs, was the argument when all the crazy shit was happening. Is that's what they would do, and almost like make the bad guys like feel so uncomfortable, and then they'd be able to attack. When he's dropping the pills on the ground, they're arguing about him, and I know where they start beating the guys up. Trejo takes a baseball and throws a strike and hits the guy in the dick, and then that stops the guy.
But and didn't he say D's nuts or something like that? Or
yeah, he said D's nuts.
I mean,
and then they went viral again.
So I agree with you. I think if Mel Gibson was in this movie, this could easily have been like, listen, they're both retired. They go down on vacation, or they buy a house down south, and that would work. All these scenarios would work to me with Mel Gibson. Danny Trejo is not. He's not to me, he's not sidekick material. He to me, he's not even a good guy. Like, he plays such a good bad guy, and for him to be like the lead, in like a comedy, a buddy comedy, it just to me doesn't work, you know. So yeah, so these guys have guns. There's multiple guys. They have guns, and one baseball takes out the guy. First of all, punches take out everybody in 2 seconds in this movie.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, it's ridiculous.
So here's
And
another
they're
thing. I rewatched it while I was working today. I just had it on so I can take a look, and I caught something. I'm happy I did. I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the first 20 minutes, but I caught something that was hilarious. So when the video goes viral, they show the username, and the username was Pig Venus
Pig Venus
instead of Big Penis.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. And then they go viral. So then they're known again. So they're obviously, I think that's the theme of every movie. The first one, it's the Amber Lance YouTube video reenacted with Trejo. The second movie, I'm sure there's one with Bernie and Frank both beating somebody up. But then we go to they're at their apartment. Lonnie Love, I guess she wasn't in the first one, right?
No, she was in the second one, I think. So I
Okay.
think I could be wrong. I was trying to do a synopsis of it. I think because they clean up L.A., the streets of L.A. in the second one, and I think they might have met her in the second one, and then that's how she knows them. I think. But first of all, why are they living together? And they have
no money. That's the whole thing. They're poor.
Okay, but clearly they can't even. The apartment looks like the Dumb and Dumber apartment for Jim Carrey and Lloyd Christmas, whatever. It looks like the exact same apartment they used. It was basically one room.
But I do love Lonnie Love. If people listening are like, Lonnie Love, who's that? Just think of I love the 80s, I love the 90s. She was on all of those, and she's real funny. She plays Carmen in this movie, John Amos' son.
Wait, so
daughter.
she's on those VH1 clips?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I recognize. I knew I recognized it from somewhere, and I couldn't figure it out. So yeah, she's good in this movie. She does things that I don't think are really possible, but we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, she was good in this movie. Just, I mean, her two best friends though are a bunch of 2 7-year-old men. She has no other friends.
Well, maybe they saved her in the second movie, and they're for lifelong pals.
Okay, but she basically spends no time with anyone, even at her own wedding. Wait, these guys are in the wedding party, aren't they?
They are, yeah. They're in the wedding party. Yeah. She has no other friends. She has no friends. There was no women. She had no bridesmaids. She should have had a bridesmaid that could have been making eyes at Bernie.
Oh, okay. The whole family dynamic is bizarre. I mean, the fact that they have a white son.
Ronnie? What's wrong with Ronnie? He's the hero of this movie.
I know that. I'm just saying, like, it was such a weird thing to throw in this movie. Just like, I really like even his whole story. Like, I thought there'd be more to it, and nothing happens. Like, he. I mean, we're not even to Ronnie yet, so we'll wait till get to Ronnie. I was just, I just figured I thought it would be like a turnaround, like he's getting bullied the whole movie, and then he's gonna get the bullies back. But no, he becomes friends with the bullies.
Well, the bullies actually do the right thing at the end of the movie.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, but to me, Ronnie didn't get his revenge of being bullied all the time. Like, it would have been nice for him to stand up and do like a, complete turnaround, like sort of like Clark Kent in Superman 2. When he goes back to the diner and he takes on the bully. I was hoping like a little something like that.
Great. Superman. Yeah, that's a great lesson to teach kids. Hey, why'd you beat the shit out of the kid in school? Well, I watched Superman 2. And what happened was he got bullied. Then he went back and he beat the shit out of the guy and drug him across the countertop.
Well, God bless you. Don't forget, he spun him around first, like
he did
about 500 times, and then he did it. Okay.
God, that movie still haunts me. It's not that it was a bad movie. It just wasn't It wasn't what I remember. It wasn't what I remember. So yeah. I take fault for that one. Okay, but so they get the call from Carmen, and they said, "Oh, you got to meet." She gets engaged within weeks. Fishy, and then they go, "Well, you're gonna meet him this weekend." And he's like, "Oh yeah, how?" Well, I'm getting married. You're in the wedding party. Come on. They're like, "Oh, your money's tight. Don't worry, you cheap ass."
So why Danny Glover kept telling Danny Trejo to no every single time he said like to go down there? Why didn't he want to go down there? What else is he going to do? He looks like he sits on that chair all day long. Doesn't work, obviously. Like, so what? And I don't even know if there was a TV in that apartment. Was there a TV in that apartment?
I think so. I think there was.
It looked very empty. That apartment looked very empty. So, like, why wouldn't you want to, like a trip down, down south? I mean, yeah, nothing else to do. He was so, like, he so did not want to go.
Well, he changed his tune because once he got down there after they were in the nice car, he was like, "Man, if I was you were this rich, I would have married you sooner."
Oh, yeah. See, so that's what makes me think that she was in the second one, just because, I mean, there must have been something.
Oh, she must have been. Oh no, she must have been the second one. I just don't know what. Maybe they saved her or something. But so
she was a cop.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why they gave her the gun in this movie later on. Like, I think she was a cop in the second movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so that makes sense.
So, yeah.
So when they're on the airplane, so again, we already know that he has some issues because I didn't mention before, when he's at the bank, his kidney stones, right, or ulcers or something, because he's grabbing his stomach when they're waiting there. Then he orders fish on the airplane, and he gets sick from that. And then we already talked about that. The fact that he's about to go try to run and take a shit is the bathroom really past? I've been on planes before. Is it really past the first? I've never been on a plane, I think, with.
Yes, so there's a plane in the back of the plane. There's always a bathroom in the back of the plane, and there's one up front. There's always one up front. So yeah, I mean, and usually, like, I think first class always looks down at the people that use the up front. But because he did go in the back and realize that someone was in there. Yeah. So then he had a So imagine it's an embarrassing enough that you really have stomach ache and you have you're gonna crap all over the place, and everybody's seeing you walk like that. Like down the plane and then all the way back to the front of the plane to go. But then again, if he had to go that bad, I don't care how pretty the girl is. There's no way that's going away. There's no way that's going away. And it literally went away in seconds. It went away in seconds.
Maybe there's an unspoken rule between Mr. Willie and your stomach or your butt, and it's like, okay, man, I'll hold on tight.
I don't know about that. We've all been at that point where there's nothing stop. Like, you only have split seconds before you either make it to the bathroom or you're not. So, and the way he was moving, he had very little time to get to the bathroom.
I know. No, it is so funny to just think, if I was in first class, I would look down at the people. I'd be like, I look down for my Wall Street Journal that I would buy just for that first class trip. I'd be like, can't you shit with the commoners?
Well, I think if I'm in first class and I see someone going there, like just walking normal, okay, you know what? There's no one going, fine. But if someone's walking looking like they're going to destroy that bathroom, absolutely not do I want that person going in first class.
You jump over the seat, you get in there before them, lock the door. I'm not coming out until you go in the back.
Yeah, he was going to have full fireworks in the display when he went in there. So
yeah. But
it does leave him. He hits on this girl, and I like how he's trying to beg the steward, to let him stay there. Like, people don't do that all the time. I wonder if that works. And not for nothing, why do they care? I mean, if there's an empty seat there, it's like going to a baseball game. If there's an empty seat by the fifth inning and no one's sitting there, sit there. Who cares? No one's gonna bother you. Like, why does it matter if he's sitting there? Like, what is it? Why does it bother him?
Exactly. It does nothing for that guy. Maybe because he's like, oh, now I have to get him drinks or something. I don't know. But I love that he called him he said cock block.
Danny Glover, he literally acts like a 20-year-old in this movie. He really does. The things he says, the way he dresses, the things he says, and just the fact that and throughout the movie, every hot girl that walks by, he says something. Like, he's constantly,
Well, weird. He's never been like that in a role.
I know.
In all of the Danny Glover roles, for me, I only know Danny Glover is older. Like, he's always been, like, when we looked it up when we were watching we were reviewing
don't remind me.
3, he was what, 48, right? Or
no, yeah, so I might have been 45. I mean, like,
that's what it was.
Listen, in Danny Glover's defense, he still looks pretty good. I mean, like, he still looks like Murtaugh. I mean, he looks like he's been ready to retirement since Lethal Weapon. Like, he has that same look to him that if you told me that this is the Danny Glover that's making Lethal Weapon 5, whatever, he looks the same. Like, he looks good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but he still looks like, he's in his 70s, and the fact that he's constantly, it's weird. It was just very weird. Very weird.
2 points. So when he gets kicked out by the steward, one was, why didn't he get her number? Like, one, she's already saying I want to bone you, old guy.
Right.
And then 2, when he gets kicked out, he doesn't go to the bathroom.
I was going to say that. So, okay, right. Again, he totally forgot about it. And, like, even when they landed, how come he wasn't talking to the girl? Because she said,
Exactly.
I'm okay with a one-night stand. So the night didn't even happen. And, okay, not for nothing, Danny Glover is a big guy. There's no way he's fitting in that bathroom with someone else. If he was planning on doing a Mile High Club, he wasn't going to fit with anybody. He's a big guy. He's no way. He's, those bathrooms are tiny and they really got to adjust them in these, because I don't know how some people get in there, so yeah.
Yeah. And just the fact that they have the same itinerary, the fact that they were on the same, that they like connected at the end of the movie. It'd been good if he had her number, I guess. That would have been good. Or he had the number, he loses it. And then the fact that he runs into her is more like, oh my God, it's you again. Like he wanted the number, or he smudged the number, something like that. It was almost like this guy sat down and flirted with her and didn't ask for the number. And was that forward with a girl 50 years younger than him? I don't know about that.
And she lied because she says she's okay with a one-night stand, but clearly there was a week in between the first time they met and the second time, the coincidence that they're on the same plane going back. So clearly it's not just a one-night stand.
Maybe she was stalking him. Maybe she she knew when he was coming back.
It's very possible. Very possible.
But then we get a montage. They're in like an old right? That's an old Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
So they're like a vintage Rolls Royce.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you have these two guys that are two tough guys or badasses. They're like, and they look like they were two kids getting excited, looking out the window at everything. First of all, the first one was building. It was just buildings. It was just buildings that they drove by, and they're looking, they're pointing, and they're smiling, and like, what are they looking at? Like,
it got worse and worse. They showed because obviously it's stock footage, and they were in a studio. They probably weren't driving around. But I love that they did like the point, and they were like, and the one was a mansion, one was a castle. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then the other one was like an oil field.
A farm. I mean, like,
yeah, dude. Like,
but they were getting these are guys that have killed and beat up so many people. They're gonna get excited on a drive from the airport to like just. And again, I can understand if even if you're seeing like a landmark, are you gonna turn and get excited and point at the window? Like they were acting like 5-year-olds. It would have been funny if like in one part of the montage you had ice cream cones. And they're like, as they're having ice cream, they're pointing and like, it's so naked. It was almost like so Naked Gun-ish the way they were doing it.
Hey, Paul Kersey in Death Wish 3, he eats an ice cream cone just before he murders the giggler. Yep.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting excited.
He did get excited when he had the Vogelchek's cabbage, and when he was having chicken when he was sleeping with a girl that was like 30 years younger than him.
Or when he was making a sandwich. Wasn't he making a sandwich in that one?
The fourth one, yeah.
Okay.
I was making a sandwich. Oh God, those are the best. But yeah, so then so they're doing the montage, and oh man, pull over, I got a shit. So then Bernie's got a shit. They pull over for a bathroom that looks like the one from like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Like, it looks like it doesn't work, and I love that. I think they kind of make fun of it. The writers kind of make fun of the fact what you mentioned earlier. So they know how silly it is that all these things happen in front of them, like they're in the right spot. Because even when the skinheads pull up and they steal that woman's purse, Frank goes, shit. Like, he looks annoyed that he has to get out of the car and take care of business.
And he has to. He has to, no matter what. But okay, so Danny Glover again. Finally, who knows how? I'm assuming that drive has to be like at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, because you go from city to like country. So it was a long drive.
Yeah,
they landed on the plane. Who knows how long they were flying for? He finally goes to the bathroom, so bad that he had to go back in the bathroom to go a second time.
Yeah.
So clearly, that bad stomach ache that he had that was on the plane, that went away as soon as he met the girl, was still there the entire time.
Yeah, and you're dehydrated after you take a diarrhea shit. So he comes out and he's ready to fight skinheads?
Not even close. Not even. I mean, the way the way he was moving in a plane, and the fact that he literally, when you go to the bathroom, and then you don't take more than 3 steps, and you're going right back in the bathroom, that's a problem. Like, you got something going on. Like, you don't want to do anything else after that. You're exhausted. Like that's a point where you're like, all right, I got to rest.
Yeah, Frank, you take him on by yourself. I love that he took on a guy with a knife with a squeegee.
Okay, I mean, is that possible? Like, okay, so these guys are like typical rednecks. They clearly have been bad guys for a long time. I'm sure it's not their first rodeo of fighting people, and they got taken down by a 70-year-old man with a squeegee. I mean, the bad guys in this movie are horrendous.
The
They're
henchmen
terrible.
are the henchmen are
All,
horrendous.
the henchmen again, the rednecks, the wherever they are, they're terrible. It's a squeegee. I don't, okay. If you take a squeegee and you swing it as hard as you can at me, it might sting a little bit. I don't know if it's going to hurt that much that it's going to knock me out. It's a squeegee. Like, they're light to begin with. How hard can you really swing that thing? You know what I mean? Like, to really take me out. Like, it's just ridiculous.
But somehow they do, and one of the skinheads gets his nose broken, and he turns into like a little girl. He's like, "Oh, my nose is broken." He's out of commission, and then they give the woman back their purse. And then they're on their merry way. They go to the mansion, Carmen's dad's mansion, played by John Amos, and the wife was in a ton of stuff too. I just couldn't pinpoint.
I even tried. I didn't even see her picture in the IMDb.
Oh, okay.
So like,
Maybe she
I don't
just
know.
looks
Like,
like someone else.
she looks very familiar, and I was trying to figure out also, and I couldn't. I couldn't picture her. She was definitely in something else.
Yeah. But so they get there. We find out right away that John Amos was a former Vietnam vet. So you're like, okay, he's got skills, but he doesn't like to talk about it anymore. That's like a thing.
Does he play like tough guys in movies, or like? Because I feel like he could totally do it. Like he has that look to him. He's a big guy.
Well,
like
he was the bad guy that was in Die Hard too.
Yeah, but he wasn't action. Like, was he action? I don't remember his.
Well,
scenes.
remember the thing about that movie when we talked about it? Like, you thought you were gonna get the Sadler versus Willis fight, but it ended up being Amos versus Willis on the wing. Yeah, they fought on the wing of the plane, and then and then that's when McClane put he had the jet fuel line,
that's right.
and it blew the
that's
plane
right.
up before it went up. But no, there wasn't like that much. But no, he's good, man. So many things over there. He had a sitcom in the 90s, right?
Yeah. He was with J.J.
Right?
Walker. He was with I think What's Happening.
He was on Good Times, yeah.
Or Good Times. Yeah. Well, he was Coming to America.
Yeah. He was
he was in
at what the hell was the name of the place?
that was Coming to America?
Yeah, it was what was the name of the place? Not McDonald's. What was it called?
Oh, McDougal's or something.
McDowell's.
McDowell's.
Yeah. Oh my god! And he was in when they just put the new one out. He had like a cameo.
Yeah. Well, everybody did in that movie. So,
pretty.
But
cool.
yeah, so I mean, like,
yeah.
So this is a huge house. I mean, it's like it's the amount of money he has, and I'm glad they kind of discussed it. I mean, because because he doesn't work either, but I mean, Danny Glover's face when he first meets her, and he says that line that I would have married you if I knew you had this. He's such a creep. It's
She's like, man, you're too late. But yeah, so they're like the life of the party, right? They're in their suits and they're laughing. We meet Ronnie.
He looks ridiculous in his suit.
Oh, I know.
He really does. He just like, this. He looks uncomfortable. Like, there's certain people that just very comfortable in what they normally wear, and I feel like Danny, like when he's wearing like camouflage, fine. I could but dressed up like that, he just looked like he was just so like he was stuffed in there. He just did not want to wear it.
He looks like a lot of dads when they don't want to wear something.
Yeah.
But no, and then so they're partying, they're ripping shots, they're doing karaoke, they're giving speeches. They only know Carmen, all these speeches. But then the night's over, they go to sleep, everything's fine. Then we get the power. We see like hooded figures come in.
Well, they pass out, don't they? Pass out.
Yeah, they pass out in the same bed. Yeah.
So do you think in the apartment that they only have one bed and they're like?
I think they're like Frank and Charlie on Always Sunny. They share a pull-out couch, probably.
Okay.
But no,
Okay.
the fact that we see the ski masks and then we see the power get cut, and you're like,
Well,
oh,
we
shit.
didn't talk about her fiance first.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about him.
Okay, so then we meet the fiance in a wheelchair. Is he in anything or no?
No.
No. Okay.
He looks familiar, but
Okay. So like, did they explain? Oh no, he was in the military. Was he in the military? Is that
he
how
was
he
shot?
was?
Yeah, he got wounded in Afghanistan. That was his
Okay.
story.
All right. So the only reason I say bring him up is because when the henchmen come there with the ski mask and they start taking, they also beat up the guy in the wheelchair.
They do.
What was he gonna do?
What do you mean? Wheelchair people?
He's in a wheelchair. He can't fight them. Like
You can still punch in a wheelchair.
All right. I mean, listen. Nothing against people in a wheelchair, but I mean,
Well, I hope not. I don't think you need to say that.
I'm just saying, if I had to go 1-on-1 with a guy in a wheelchair, I'm putting my money on myself.
Well,
I mean, okay, well, that's my point. So, like, why even worry about him? Like, I don't know, because I feel like they knocked him out. Because I think he had a black eye, and like
they did knock him out. Yeah,
he
and they
right.
took Lonnie Love.
Yeah, because he says he didn't recognize anybody or he couldn't see anything or something like that. So, like, I don't know. I thought it was a little silly that they even wasted their time with that.
So is that what made you think something?
No, I just think because of how dumb this movie is and the way he was acting later on about Lonnie missing and everything, it was just like it almost seemed forced, and that's what I'm like, oh, this guy. I'm not saying that. All right, I'm not saying that I knew that he could do things.
Oh,
but I thought I figured he was involved.
Okay.
So. All right. Anyway, I was gonna say with Danny Trejo fighting and yelling for Danny Glover.
I love that. But this goes back to my point. Anytime it's a henchman, he's like a perfect record. He's like the greatest fighter ever. He beats the crap out of all these guys until obviously there's too many of them because he doesn't have his boy. Then he gets knocked out. I love how great is it when he wakes up. Bernie. Hey, what are you doing sleeping? Somebody kidnapped Carmen.
And he gets knocked out a few times in this movie.
Yes, he does. Yes.
For a guy that's, the main badass, he does get knocked out a lot, but he never has a mark on him once. And his clothes look clean throughout the whole movie. The only mark that happens
Seagal.
Oh, easily. The only mark that happens is Danny Glover gets a little mark on his face.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hey, who carried Trejo up to his room? Did the bad guys carry him up to the bed?
So you're saying that after they beat him up and knocked him out, they're like, let's place him here and just pretend like.
But why was Bernie so shocked? Wouldn't when he?
Yeah, but how do you know? I thought he was on the couch. I thought he was like downstairs on the floor.
Oh, was that where he found him? Oh, okay. I thought he was
in this movie. It wouldn't surprise me if they had him in the bed, covers up, his pajamas on, and I mean, yeah, I would assume that he was found on a floor downstairs or something, or maybe he's not. Yeah, the old timey hat.
Oh my god, dude! So then from there we get this. We meet the sheriff, and as soon as we meet this guy, I'm like, this guy.
Now, is he in anything? Because he looked very familiar.
I know. I think a lot of these. Oh, I gotta say, I think a lot of these people really did do like a good job. Like I thought he did a great job, but I just guessed right away. I'm like, this guy's a little off.
Easily. I mean, he came in too hard, and clearly, like there was something going on with that. But I bet you, he was in a bunch of stuff just as a side character because he does look very familiar. But yeah, I mean, this couldn't be the first corrupt thing that he's done. So for John Amos to like rely on him was a shock because it's not his first rodeo of being a corrupt, doing something corrupt. So like your daughter's missing, you're going to go on the most corrupt cop in the town, which I'm assuming there weren't a lot of cops there to begin with. So
Oh no! Remember when he makes fun of the town? He goes, "We actually have 650,000 residents." Like he goes through this whole thing. But the thing that's really funny, like I always think it, whenever it comes to writing, like as a writer or director, like on set, saying, "Hey, say this." When it comes to like numbers, I don't know why it's so weird when it's like weird numbers. But the fact that but I don't know if you caught this when the bad guys call with the ransom and they're like, "We have your daughter. We want $5 million in 32 hours." To me, that's like the weirdest number, even though it's an even number. I'm like, okay, so a day and 8 hours. Is there something at those? If it was like, hey, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and if we did the math, it came out to be 32 hours, that's fine. But the fact that they said like 32 hours, give us $5 million, I'm like, it's kind of weird. That's not anything.
Oh, maybe he had a plane to catch, and so like they got to take the money and run. So I also like
what if it was the girl? What if it was a girl?
You know what? That would have been a good. That would have been a good twist then. See, but that would have been a better twist. But also I always wonder, how do they arrive on like the numbers for ransoms? Like, they can they can pick any number they want. Like, how do they decide? Like, not 10 million. Like, if you're going to ask for 5 million, why not ask for 10 million? Like, is 10 million just so absurd, but 5 million is okay? Like, and it's curious, like in all these movies, they always have a number. Like, what are they basing that number on?
I got it. You ready? I have actually pretty good idea. Think of it like when you're selling your house, and whenever you look like, how much can I sell my house for? They always give you the houses in the area that are about your 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay.
This is what they sold for. That's what they do. They basically look at like, okay, what is the person who you stole parents' net worth? And then based on their age and people in the neighborhood that were kidnapped within and ransomed in the last year. And it's like, okay, you do like the math. Okay, this little girl, she was 10 million, but we're not going to get 10 million for Lonnie Love. How about let's do 5? Let's see what they say.
Well, if that's how they're doing it, they're selling themselves short because clearly they have the most money in town.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, if that's the case, then they're the richest people in town. And again, you look at the amount of people that were at the wedding, the house and everything else, and the money that's on that property from the oil and everything else. 5 million is a little light.
And how many henchmen do they have? So they have to split that money. Like, obviously there was the guys that broke into the house. That was probably like 7 to 10 guys. Then you have the guys at the warehouse at the end of the movie. There's a lot of guys there. You have guns you have to buy, vehicles.
The good thing is those guns don't run out of bullets. Because the pistols that they're using basically to mow down every single henchman in there and then some. Like I was looking, the gun that Amos has, he was shooting everybody and he never ran out of bullets.
Never, not even close.
Not even close. I mean, at least like in Die Hard, after he runs out of bullets, he'll throw the gun away and grab another one. Here it was one gun, and all of them, they all had one gun and just plenty of bullets.
It was like a video game.
And what was weird is the only person that did not have a gun was Danny Trejo.
No, he doesn't shoot guns.
Danny Glover had a gun. Lonnie Love had a gun. He gave a gun, but he was running around while everybody else was doing a shooting. He's the number one badass. He didn't have a gun.
I wonder if he maybe never uses a gun in the first 2 movies.
I don't know. I mean, he uses his fist a lot in this movie, but I don't know about a gun.
Maybe he's like Joe Armstrong. He doesn't use guns.
Okay.
And what's the other movie? There's somebody that doesn't use guns. What the hell movie is that? It's a movie. Oh, it's a movie I watched recently. No. It's a movie that I watched. You'd probably actually like it. I can't say the name. I can't think of it. Oh, Guy Pearce. He's in like a small town.
I thought you were talking about the military movie when he doesn't want to use a gun, and I didn't see that yet with Andrew Garfield.
Oh no, I didn't see that. No, there's one with Guy Pearce. He's like a sheriff in a small town. The bad guys take over. I think Devon Sawa is the bad guy in it. He plays a great role, but it did a bunch of people in it, like that. You're like, oh, Kelly from WWF, like from the 2000s. She's in it, and I guess he accidentally shot a kid one time. Oh, kind of like what's his name in Die Hard? He never wants to fire his gun. Mr. Winslow.
Well, John Amos didn't want to fire his gun.
He did not. Yeah, you're right.
So
that's a trend.
We'll get to him because he didn't want to fire a gun, but he kills 1,500 people. at the end of the movie.
He does. But I love Carmen's mom right away. She pulls aside. So she knows that the cops suck in this town. And even John Amos sort of should know it, but he doesn't really. At first, he's not about them getting involved.
Correct.
Because he's kind of like, it's bound to happen that the richest black guy in town gets extorted. But he doesn't get to that point until a little bit after. But Carmen's mom right away is like, Frank, Bernie, you got to help. You got to get my daughter back. And then Ronnie, in vitro white boy, he finds a wallet that the cops didn't find. How about when they find the wallet and they give it to the sheriff?
Oh.
Nah.
Okay. Hold on a second. So if I'm a henchman and you're going to a house to kidnap, and you're going to bring your wallet with you?
I know.
Just in case we have to get ID'd, I want to make sure I have my ID with me. I mean, why would he bring a wallet? That's how bad they are.
You don't need your credit card. Just
a
few bucks.
Okay, and if I'm going to bring my wallet, when you leave your credit cards that have your name on it, your license, at least just bring cash. If you feel like you might need cash, fine. Then bring your wallet, but you're going to bring everything that you have that has your home address, your name and everything, and your picture. That's smart.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're able to okay, we're going to do this. And so this is where they go to the thrift store because it's weird. They have they brought clothes, right? But for some reason, the
clothes they wore down there made them fit in more than the clothes that they ended up buying at the thrift store.
Yeah.
Why did they have? Because I feel like the clothes that Danny Trejo got are basically the same clothes that he wears in the first two movies. I think he has the camouflage jacket and a hat in both those movies. So he can't. So it's like him. He's like Superman. He can't be a badass without the camouflage jacket and a hat.
Yeah, and like we were talking about his outfit, Danny Glover, who's wearing a hockey jersey and fur around.
So he literally looked like he just went in there and said, I'm gonna dress up for Halloween as just a guy that just goes to a thrift store and puts on the most ridiculous non-matching outfit possible. That's what he looked like.
He was a background guy in a 90s Snoop Dogg video.
What I really would love to know the writer's plan. What was the purpose of that? Because it made no sense. It really I'm trying to say all right, well, maybe because they were going to this place that maybe they were going to a gym that they had to blend in and something. I don't know. Maybe that would be okay. But they went to a redneck bar. So not only are you going to stand out being the only black person at a redneck bar, but you're dressed like that. So you want to stand out even more.
Or maybe Danny Glover was just like, this looks cool. And he put it on and they're like, oh, you're not going to wear that, right? He's like, no, I'm going to wear it. And they're like, no. He's like, I'm not getting paid a lot for this. I'm going to wear this today.
Yeah.
And boom. He makes it into the movie.
Very weird. It was, I don't know. It's a very weird choice.
Well, what was weird? The fact that they were wearing that, or every white person at the coffee shop was sneering. Everyone had a stink face when they saw them, and I'm like, there's people walking in the street.
Okay, would you wouldn't sneer if you see Danny Glover walk in with a sweatsuit, a headband, and a fur vest? I mean, it's not like you see that every day.
I'd be like, this guy has a story to tell. I want
to
know where
if they were in New York City. Hold on, if they were in New York City. All right, I see that all the time. People wear whatever they want in New York City. But you're talking about down south when they probably just wear camo and anything else. You're gonna stick out.
Well, those white people that we saw at the coffee shop, they were very sophisticated. So we have sophisticated, and then they get dropped off at the strip club where we saw boobs in this movie, which I wasn't expecting.
Wait, you weren't expecting to see boobs at a strip bar?
No. I obviously, when they get to the strip club, I'm like, hey, this is going to happen. But I wasn't expecting to see this movie that, hey, we're going to, maybe Trejo or Glover's like, you got to write in a strip club scene.
Listen, he's been horny the entire movie.
Sure.
You don't think, it's beyond, this is the guy that's 70 years old that's making out with a 22-year-old, and you're shocked that showed boobs?
She should have worked there. She should have been in the movie again. Somewhere in the movie, besides
she was at the end of the movie.
I know, but I'm saying there should have been something in between I guess it's a good callback at the end because I didn't forget about it. I'm like, they filmed this same scene in the same day, told her to change her outfit, and that was it. Because the steward was the same guy. It wasn't anything different, and then he just showed him the ticket versus
Maybe there's only one plane that comes in. It's the same plane every single time.
Yeah.
And that's it. Maybe it was a private plane.
Maybe.
Because the father paid for everything. So maybe it was a private plane.
No, it wasn't a private plane. You think he owned a private plane and just said, "Hey, let me let random people on it"?
Well, you got to fill the seats. He's got to pay for it somehow. So, but he can use it. He can rent it out.
So then they're at the strip club. They're looking around. Obviously, they stick out like a sore thumb, even if they weren't wearing that. And I love that Bernie says, "Man, my kidney stones are acting up." And Frank says, "You're falling apart." And Bernie says, "At least my penis still works."
So weird.
He's horny,
So dumb.
man.
So in this scene, first of all, these two get around in a state and town they've never been to, and they get around with ease. They have no vehicles to get them where. They don't have GPS because they don't know how to use it later on. And they somehow are able to go everywhere like they know what they're doing.
Well, they got a cab, right? They weren't driving there, right?
I don't know.
How'd they even get there? Oh, no, there was something in the guy's wallet, right? There was something.
Right, well,
there
from the wallet.
Yeah.
But each time they got more information, they were able to find the places or go they got around very easily, and we're not getting lost. I mean, even later on, when they're in the woods and they have a motorcycle, they were able to find a way exactly where they had to go to the bad guy's factory, so here they're in a bar, which we're about to see a fight and shootout. And you're going to tell me this is a redneck bar. You're going to tell me none of them had guns?
I'm sure they should have had guns. And the fact that Glover shoots a gun, the way he shot it, obviously it's not a real gun on set, but there was a stripper in the way. Correct. And he perfectly had to shoot just in between her and other people sitting at a table to shoot the guy in the leg. And then how about Trejo? That was
that was gross.
That was that was awesome.
But he had the gun again, and they were they had a hostage, right? He had the gun but there was at least 20 people in that bar, including the bartender who, bars down there, they have a shotgun behind them.
Oh, of course.
You're going to tell me they're so worried about this 70-year-old man who has one gun? No one has a gun there, that they're all afraid of him? Because no one did anything. No one tried to attack. Everybody just sat still.
It should have been that scene in, what the hell movie is it, when the guy pulls out the little gun and then everybody else pulls out a gun. And it's almost like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Everybody puts a gun on them within seconds, and they are firing at them.
But yeah, when Trejo puts his finger in that guy's leg, oh my gosh. That was gross.
To get some information, man. He's trying to do everything to get information, and then that just leads them to the next. So where do they go next after this? I know this is where they run into Ronnie getting bullied, right? Well, just about.
Don't they go to the apartment, or they go to the apartment? The girl that beats the crap out of them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She was hot. Then she just went
very
crazy.
Hot. Yeah, but again. I mean, they both got their ass kicked by her, but then he squeezes her almost to death. Was that that was the move? I mean, this girl clearly knows karate. She couldn't get out of that. She knocked down Danny Glover's a big guy. Danny Trejo's pretty big, tough, and she kicked them both. And you could tell she knows what she's doing. She can handle herself. She couldn't get out of his bear hug.
No, she knew everything else. All these great kicks. She could be in a martial arts movie. That's how good that girl's moves were. But then, squeezed to death. But no,
and Danny Glover's hitting on her also afterwards.
Oh, I know. No, he's really horny, man. He needed that ending to happen, or he was gonna. I don't know what he was gonna do.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god, no! But just before that, it's like it bookends this scene was Ronnie getting bullied first by
Oh yeah.
by we find
That's
out
right.
later the other detective's son saying, "Hey, my car is in the shop. I need to borrow yours for like 2 weeks." And I'm like, are there really bullies like ever in this world? I know lunch money, give me your lunch money, but I need your car for 2 weeks. Like, you really think you're gonna get away with that?
And I mean, we didn't mention earlier, but he had a black eye that his parents noticed, and they asked him what happened. He gave like an excuse, something like that, and they're like, okay, like my child comes home with a black eye. I'm going to go meet that person's father. I'm going to go whatever. Like, you're not going to just ignore it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, they didn't. They really didn't do much. They didn't care.
No, they didn't really care about him.
They really didn't. But yeah, I mean, so like, I was questioning this too. Like, what did the bullies think? So even if he gave him the keys to the car, wouldn't he go to the cops and? That's right. His brother's a cop anyway.
Well, his
But
dad's
even-
cop. That's the guy.
No, no, that's his brother.
Oh, it was his brother. Oh,
Because he
God.
says, "Mom." At one point, when they were at the deli or whatever, the liquor store, he says, "Mom said we got to be home" or something like that. I could have sworn it was his
Well,
brother.
no, that's what you don't talk to your kids like that. What do you say? If you're talking to your son and you said,
I would say your mom. I wouldn't say mom. I don't know.
"No,
Your mom.
your mom,"
I thought it was a brother, but either way.
Yeah, no, I don't know. He seemed older, so I thought it was a son. But whatever. But then, when they're at the deli, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, man, Ronnie? Good thing running into you here. I don't have any money for snacks. Do you think?" I'm like, "What the fuck is this kid doing? He's stalking him to get money, like,
Yeah.
and to get his car. Like, why would he ever do anything like that?"
Yeah. Well, he gets beat up every time. Why would he do anything? What? Why would Ronnie even show up anywhere alone?
Stay in his rich house. He can go to school there. His parents have so much money. The
Absolutely.
place is huge. Why
Forget
not?
school. Your parents got so much money. You never have to work again.
Yeah,
His parents don't
in your-
work.
Oil in the backyard. Boom, you're
Yeah.
good. You're set
Yeah.
for life.
Yeah. But I mean, like for the fact that he does go everywhere alone, it makes a sense because these bullies clearly know exactly everywhere he's going.
But
And they're
now
always right there.
he's got street cred because he
He
knows
does.
the badasses. Oh, I know you guys. And then everything's fine. It's fine for the rest of the movie.
But see, to me, there was no justice with that. This poor kid got bullied, and it's not the first time. This is something that's probably been going on for years. So, like, you would have liked some kind of retribution.
Yeah,
And
it
then they
wasn't
become
enough
friends.
like the ending scene seeing the guy sort of being on his side. It should have been maybe, I don't know if there would have been like some way to shoehorn in Ronnie beating him up or even if they just became buddies.
One punch, or just one punch,
Yeah, okay.
and let the kid goes, you know what? I deserved it. Just something. Let Ronnie, because to me, Ronnie still doesn't have justification. He was still bullied. He still took it every single time. And so just because they're friends, he never stood up for himself because he needed Trejo to do it. So, like, there was no, like, Ronnie's going to continue being bullied if he doesn't stand up for himself.
Sure.
So, but yeah, somehow the bullies became good guys overnight.
Yeah. No, you're right. But Ronnie was sort of the hero, right?
No, not sort of. He was the hero because they would have been dead.
Yeah, no.
They were dead. They were, all three of them were already saying, it's it. We're done.
Gosh, I love talking about that, like, because that happens in so many movies. So we'll get to that when it happens. But so we talked about that part, and Lonnie, she's like in some Lonnie Love, Carmen. She's being held in like the warehouse. It's like this all gray room. But I do love that she asked for a sandwich, and the main guy looked just like the Kyle Gass from Tenacious D. Definitely wasn't him, but he had like the big beard. She's like, "You Duck Dynasty motherfucker." I'm like, yes.
Yeah, she did play a good serious role because I mean you can see like some of his interaction here, but what she does in this movie, I don't see happening. One,
crawl through the vents and
okay. Well, first of all, how is she getting up there?
True.
There's no way because there was no tables or chairs there. There's no way she's got the strength to pull herself up there. I mean, let's be honest, she's not a skinny girl.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think she'd fit up there To be honest with you, because the vents are not. I mean, they're tougher. And you see Bruce Willis; he's barely struggling.
He barely
when
fit. He could barely
barely
fit in there.
fits. So for her, the fact that she not only is she able to climb up there, which is impossible, because I don't think the average person could do that without using like a boost. But she's fit in there. She's moving around so swiftly that she's able to go to the other room, climb down, climb back up, and move again swiftly enough that she can come back down and back in her old room just in time.
I know. And she's like, for some reason, like naked. She's adjusting herself.
She was adjusting. Well, that was her way of, but yeah, like didn't the henchman last like, why is your top down?
Yeah.
Like
what's going on here?
It was bizarre because she's wearing the same clothes. So it wasn't like she was changing and she was just, her top was down.
Yeah. Wouldn't you like tell the main boss when you get back, or you're like your boss, and be like, how's everything going in there? I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Something strange.
Like, yeah. She had everything like it zippered down. She was facing the other way. Oh, I don't know. Maybe she was adjusting.
And being that, you are having a prisoner or kidnapper, that wouldn't they have like a camera in there?
Oh,
like
why
to always
you have a
watch
camera
what
in there?
your kidnappee is doing. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
A kidnappee?
Yeah, I would think so, right? Kidnapping?
Okay. So I would think that they would have some kind of like, if I'm a kidnapper, which I would never be one, but if I was one, I would have a camera in there. Because you want to make
That's
sure.
what you would do? If you kidnap somebody, you'd have make sure a camera in there.
I would make sure this way I could see if they're like if any shenanigans going on. Clearly things are going to happen when we're not there, but if they had a camera there, they would know that she was climbing in the vents and, where was she going?
How about, obviously you got to make sure you have a camera, but how about just put them in a room with no vents or no other doors
okay.
or other windows?
Again, I'm going to side with the kidnappers on this one. They were assuming there's no way she's climbing up into a vent.
That's what they did.
So I mean, I'm not taking it away from them. I mean, I think they were not planning for that to happen. So,
it's like in The Fugitive. Tommy Lee Jones is like, I'm gonna chase him down this tunnel. No friggin' way he's gonna jump off this, and he did.
Yeah.
So in this one, they were like, "Hey, Lonnie Love, I dare you to climb the vent." She's like, "Watch me." She did.
And the room was weird because there were no chairs, but there was like the stool was like it was a stone stool, like a bench connected to the wall, right? Was that kind of what?
Yeah.
So like, what kind of room is this?
Oh, and then here is how I just looked at my note. The reason, remember the way she found out that there was a vent? So the vent wasn't seen. It was like there was a vent there, but they covered everything up. Remember we saw the mouse, and she's like,
"Oh, the mouse."
Ew.
That's right.
The mouse is like digging through something that was like wet, and then that's where she dug, and then she was able to see that was there. Okay.
So it was that easy to dig through concrete.
No, I don't think it's. I think it was just drywall or something.
Okay. All right.
But maybe the bad guys, maybe they didn't even know that room that well. They're new bad guys. They're new to this territory. They didn't know that there used to be. They didn't have the blueprints, so they didn't know that there was.
Listen, these bad guys are bad. Again, one, they don't have a camera in there, so that's one. Two, they put her in a room that's connected to another room that, if by chance she's able to figure out how to squeeze into the vent, that she's able to direct herself to the right room she needs to get to. Because, I mean, I'm assuming the vent, a pretty big place, went all over the place. Like, like the fact that she found the right room. But they also don't know how to tie ropes, because when they are all tied up later on, and we're not there yet, but when they're tied, the son is able to untie them in 2 seconds. Like, literally, he walks in there. It's like almost like he pulled like the shoestring, to untie someone's shoe. And that's how the ropes fall off to 2 seconds. And
maybe it was
multiple times.
Maybe it was
even later on in the movie, when I think the mom was tied up or someone at the end, same thing. They untie it in 2 seconds. So the bad guys are not good bad guys.
That should be a movie. Yeah, it should be not good bad guys. That'd be a great movie. You have like a group of bad guys who just are bad guys. Like everything they try to do.
That should be the title. Bad guys.
Bad guys. It kind of reminds me of Robot Chicken, when they had all the bad guys like Skeletor, and they're all hanging out, and all they're doing is crying. Like when they're in traffic and Skeletor farts farts in the car. Oh well, no. Skeletor doesn't fart in the car. Somebody else fart. I forget who farts in the car. But.
Well, they actually have two movies that are kind of like that with bad guys. Not that they're bad guys, but like you ever see Pure Luck with Martin Short and Danny Glover? No, it's Nick Nolte. It's okay. So it's Martin Short and Nick Nolte, and Martin Short robs a bank because I think they kidnap his daughter or something. So he has to rob the bank, but he's a klutz and he messes up and he takes Nick Nolte hostage.
Okay.
Who's like this bit, and it's a very funny movie. So you'd like that.
And then the other movie, Pink Cadillac. He's a bad guy in that one.
Well, he messes up a lot. I don't remember.
Yeah, when he's trying to rob the place, and then he ends up kidnapping Robin Williams because he can't do it right. What's his name?
Jim Carrey's in it.
He is. He has a small role in it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
And then you ever see the one with Nicolas Cage, Dana Carvey, and John Lovitz? They play three brothers.
Yeah.
Something Paradise, Lost in Paradise, something like that, or
Trapped
something
in Paradise, or
Trapped in Paradise.
Lost.
Trapped. I think it's Trapped. Yeah. So
I've seen that one.
So there's a few movies of bad guys.
Okay. That would be good. But no, so they didn't know the schematic. So maybe like we'll give them like a little bit of a pass on that one. But yeah, so that's a whole scene. That's like the next scene in the movie. But really the scene before is when Ronnie goes in and he gives his dad's watch that saved him in Nam from a bullet. He gives it to Trejo, and Trejo actually takes it. He tries to give it back for 1 split second, and then Ronnie's like, "No, I want you to have it." I'm like,
I was gonna say, does he really try though? Like he really didn't try. Like he wanted that watch.
He's like, shit, I can pawn it when I get back to be able to get some money. But no, I love it. He goes, how do you know you're a hero? And he goes, I know you got it in you. So obviously we knew something was going to happen with Ronnie at the end of the movie. But no, when she's going through the vents, and you're right, she goes to the right room, she finds a computer, and she's able, she finds a computer and an old ass fax machine, right?
Okay. They're at this warehousey kind of place. There's no way these bad guy redneck guys have a working fax machine or a computer. What are they using a computer for?
Yeah.
What can they possibly be using a computer for?
Exactly.
And fine, I'll give them. Maybe they're doing the bank statements on the computer. What are they using a fax machine for?
I don't know. It looks
why
so old.
Why even have a fax machine? The fact that this is not like an office building. This is a warehouse that looks like it has nothing else going on. They clearly bought the fax machine to bring there. I mean, I'm just saying. I want to know what kind of business these guys are using.
It was there.
And this is when was this movie filmed? This is like 2015 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's using a fax machine in 2015?
True Green.
All right. So maybe they work for True Green.
Yeah, the old company we worked for. Yeah, they were faxing. We had a fax sales number. No emailing back then. But
man.
So how about when she's trying to figure out the password? Remember the one she tries? I married my cousin.
I'm surprised that didn't work.
Redneck, and she's trying everything, and then obviously she's able to get it to work. But how about then we cut to, which is bizarre.
Wait. You went over that real fast. Like obviously she got it to work. Is it that easy to figure out someone's password?
Maybe it was password. Maybe it was bad guys.
That would okay. All right.
But now, how about the weirdest part of this was we cut to, because obviously Trejo got the information saying who he was working with, and then they gave him the address to the restaurant, which we saw the henchman that I think looks like Kyle Gass. If any listeners or fans of Tenacious D, he's not Jack Black. It looks just like him, but with the Duck Dynasty beard. He's at this restaurant, and he's like Gordon Ramsaying people, yelling at them, and you're like, what the hell? And then I know in walk Frank and Bernie. Like, so randomly, right?
Very randomly. Yeah. Like I said, they got around. They got around so well in this movie. Listen, I get lost going to the next town over very easily. These guys are hundreds of miles away from where they live, and they're able to just. And this is in kind of a hick kind of town, which I'm assuming like it's not easy go by directions, and
Yeah.
they get around like no problem at all.
But I did like the reveal because you had him doing his best Gordon Ramsay, like trashing a guy, trashing a guy, and then Bernie's just standing there.
Yeah, and this gets a little gross too, by the way.
Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, that looked really.
That,
the burn looks so. Ugh.
I would say for this movie, I mean, the budget looks poor. I mean, I don't know what the budget was, but some of the torture and that kind of stuff, or just like the shoot, like there was wasn't there like a head explode or something like that in the end of the movie or something? Like there was something gross. A face, I think there was some kind of like a face blown off or something at one point.
I'm trying to think what it was.
There was
talking about. Yeah.
So I mean, so like some of the effects they were pretty good. Like the guy's burned face was pretty gross.
No, it was so there was some cool thing. Even they crashed a plane.
Yeah,
like, that was a real plane. Like that wasn't like I don't know. That could have been footage that they purchased and it's used in other movies or something. But no, they had some like cool things that they did.
You're this bad guy. He's already burned your face once. Wouldn't you like? You need to get burnt twice for him to give information. At that point, the second he's ready to throw my face into the boiling, greasy water, whatever that was, the oil, I would have told him everything.
Oh,
I mean, this guy, you see this a lot in movies. Like people they wait to they know eventually they're going to give up the information, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at that point where the bad guys have you tied up, they start bringing up pliers and blowtorches. You're gonna at some point you're going to give up the information. Why did they wait for a few fingers to be cut off? Your face to be burned. Whatever, and then they give the information. Wouldn't it be easier on yourself to say, "Hey, all right, listen, I know how this is going to go down. Okay, whatever you want, I will tell you. Let's just leave it at that."
Yeah, and then what we'll do is I'll pretend that I lost a finger or something, or you hurt me real bad. Like as soon as they pull out like the Dexter roll knives, I'd be like, I'm whatever you need.
I would be the worst bad guy because all they had to do is they said, "Oh, you're not going to tell us anything? All right, let's get the doctor in. I'm done." I'm like, "Oh, fine. I don't even have to see anything. I'll tell you whatever you want." I mean, like it just like it's every movie that and no one gives information right away. Like I don't know. Okay, you don't know. Okay.
They're tough for a little bit, and they're like, "Fuck it, I like my eyes."
Yeah, but they always wait too long. Like they always wait too long. And I think the bad guys would respect you more if you said everything up front. They're like, "All right, you know what? You were pretty nice. We'll let you go."
They'll be like, "Man, thank God I didn't really feel like chopping off your arm today."
I didn't want to listen. It's always a mess. We got to clean up afterwards, and you saved us a lot of time. So
my daughter got me this shirt for Father's Day, and if I get blood on it, I won't be able to get it out.
Listen, my son's got a baseball game at 4:00. I mean, I thought I was gonna miss it, but you know what? This is a lot quicker than I thought. Thank you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. We'll pretend that we killed you and buried you in the woods. Don't be seen again.
Or if you give up information right away, I would think like, "Oh, listen, we still have to kill you, but we'll do it quick."
No.
But when you lie to them, they don't like to be lied to. When you lie to them, that's when everything's gonna be a slow torture until you give the information up,
Like
and then they're gonna kill
you.
And they're gonna kill you anyway. So
Yeah.
if you're chained up or tied up in a bad guy's basement, you're not making it out of there alive. You're done. So whoever you're afraid of that you're spilling the information for, it doesn't make a difference. You're gonna be dead anyway. You might as well just give them everything.
Yeah. So they get the information from him, and they find out where they're supposed to go, like the warehouse. And then at the same time, Lonnie Love's able to fax to the police station, "Hey, this is where I'm at. Come get me," and like handwriting. And so the sheriff gets it, and I think who gets the message? The other crooked detective, right? Like there's no other person that sees it. Right?
No, well, no, he's not. No, I thought it was the bully's brother.
No, the bully's brother tries to
found
go
it
in there.
He found it in the garbage. Is it he found that in the garbage, or who found it in the garbage?
John Amos found it.
Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Where it was perfectly left on top of the garbage and not
not crumbled
down?
up or anything? Yeah, not even crumbled up, sitting on top of the garbage. Yeah,
unbelievable.
That's right.
So obviously, like the sheriff and the crooked detective, not the bully's brother or dad, but they leave him out. They lock him out of the room because he's like, "Hey, can I do you guys need me? And they're like, no.
What?
So then
Before you go there, how did Lonnie know the fax number to the police station?
That's a good question.
Okay.
It's not 911.
Okay. All right. No, I was just curious.
Lucky guess. 555-5555. And it worked. Somehow it got to them. But no, so then they know, like, oh shit, she somehow is able to send this out. We have to go there. Instead of like calling and saying, like, hey, she's, that would have made more sense if they called and said, hey, she's like out, somehow she's sending a fax, go check on her, and then she's in a room. Then it'd be like, okay, even though she is sort of zipping herself up, something shady just happened. Like, what the hell did you do? No, they don't do anything like that. So they go down the road and they pull over Trejo and Glover. And what were they in? Oh, a truck, right? Who did they get the truck?
They were in
from?
the cook's truck.
Yes, that's what it was. Okay.
But okay, so one more thing. This room has a computer and a fax machine. You're gonna tell me he doesn't have a telephone?
Oh, yeah, how they connect it? Oh, well, obviously the cable modem.
Yeah, but I
guess,
mean,
but,
I would guess if they're gonna have a computer, there's gonna be a telephone. I just wanted to make that clear.
Or the fax machines. I would say most fax machines have a.
They do.
The old ones had a phone. It used to have like a little phone on top of it.
Yeah. So anyway,
For some
so
reason.
they you don't remember he goes to the I'm gonna take your car now or something like that or truck and he goes the truck's parked out front or something. So yeah. So they
but even though I knew they were crooked. I knew they were crooked.
Of course.
So no, probably somebody there tipped them off right away and said, "Hey, they were here and stole my truck." I think that was even something that
how'd they find them?
How'd they find one road to the warehouse in the town, maybe.
I mean, that was just a random thing. They were able to catch them like randomly right on the road, like almost like immediately after they told them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And how fast did they get there? Because they were at the restaurant. They were at the police station. How'd they get there so fast? Where they were driving?
There you go.
All right, cool. So how'd they get there so fast?
I don't know. I really don't know how they figured it out, but I knew right away from like earlier, and you could just obviously we knew, but like we talked about, like the first time you saw him, you're like, all right, he's shady, like something is going on. But this is what I was kind of referencing earlier. Trejo took out how many unnamed henchmen, right? And somehow he gets like 1-2 punched by the 2-piece by this guy, and he's knocked out.
Again, knocked out again. So like Trejo, you know what it is? He can throw a lot of punches. He just can't take a punch.
No, you're right.
Because he gets knocked out. I mean, I would think it takes a lot to knock someone out, right? I mean, like, especially, I should say the average person maybe can get knocked out pretty easy. But someone like Trejo, who's a badass, I don't think one punch is going to do it. So he must have such a soft chin. Yeah. So he's great at like taking people out, but he gets hit once. He just goes down like a baby.
Down like a baby.
Because it happened twice. It happened twice.
But the next scene,
hold on. And he gets so knocked out that they're able to tie him up, put him in the back seat, and like without him even waking up. That's how knocked out he is.
Bernie was like just watching.
Somehow Bernie's always wide awake, and no one ever touches him.
No, he never gets hit.
He never gets hit. Like he just watches. Like why? Like I want to know Bernie's background. Like, does he have any kind of background, or he's just?
Well, he owned a liquor store. He owned a liquor store. That's the only thing that they mentioned about him in this movie. But you're right. Maybe he took your advice. Maybe they were like, I'm going to shoot you in the face with your friend. Even though they knew they were going to die. Like, they knew. Yeah. Where were they going? Did they ever say where they were going when they put him on that cargo plane?
And where did they get the Indiana Jones plane? That was like a 1940s, like, old school plane. Where'd they get it from?
Oh, I have no idea.
That thing was
like, where are they going? They're like, we're going to put you on this plane. And I'm like,
yeah. Why waste? Like, if again, They have them. These guys are interrupting what's going on, the kidnapping. How about shoot them right there? No one would suspect it's the cops. They're in the middle of nowhere, so they're not going to be found. I'm sure there's a swamp nearby. Throw them in the swamps. The alligators will eat them, and that's it. No, let's make this whole big production and bring them to the airfield. We'll throw them on this 1942 plane that has a 1942's motorcycle. Like I mean, like the stuff in this movie between the 80s outfit and now like this plane, like they don't have sidecars in 2015. This is like, it's such a, and this is like, did they even have in the United States? It's like German, right? That's like,
what, sidecars? Well, very rare here, but no.
Right.
So we'll talk about when they landed, there's like a really funny thing. I don't know if you heard the same thing or thought the same thing, but so when they're on the plane, the guy's basically like, oh yeah, we're going to make sure that we get the ransom and all this shit. But there was no mention of what was going on. And there was a pilot, there was two bad guys, and then there was
only two bad guys. That's it.
Yeah. And then there was a pilot.
Yeah,
So
well, yeah,
pilot.
but
I don't know if
right.
he was a bad guy. Maybe he was just that guy that was
no,
hired
but I
for
mean,
the
like
weekend.
the two bad guys watching over the two badasses, and they're standing in the middle of the plane, right? Like so you're in a plane, like it's not easy to move. Like these guys are sitting down, like they're standing there, and they're like listening to these two guys. They're gonna kill them. Why they care if Danny Glover was having some kind of attack?
I know. Why
Wouldn't
not?
that have made their job easier? Like, oh, all right, we only have to kill one now. You're like, why were they concerned to keep him alive?
I know. I don't know why. Like, it's something with the bad guys, man. They have this whole. They have. Some
They're
issues.
bad guys. That's what it
They
is. I mean, again, why not push him out of the plane? No parachute. They're not gonna. They're gonna splatter all over the floor from crashing. No one's gonna recognize them. That's it.
Yeah, some animals are gonna maybe like Bernie thought later when the plane crashes. He said, "Man, we gotta watch out for alligators, werewolves." So maybe their bodies would get picked up by an alligator, or in his eyes, a werewolf, and they'd be fine. Yeah. But dude, how about when he fakes his attack and the guy gets close? And you got to think, this engine is huge. Like regular planes' engines are huge, but this cargo plane obviously has to be larger because it's doing so much work and it's carrying something so big. They're fighting, and the bullet goes through the wall, and the engine shot
and blows out. I mean, like blows out the engine. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how engines on a plane work. I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're on the same page.
So they knock those. They make quick work out of those two, and at the same time, he does like a little trickery. Danny Trejo goes to the front. And it's almost like he knocks on the door for the pilot to be like, "Hey, what's going on back there?" He hides behind the door, knocks the guy out with the door.
Yeah, and then I just because you were in Vietnam, does that mean you've flown a plane before? Like, has he ever? I don't think he's ever flown a plane because he asked Danny Glover to look for the manual.
Oh wait, and I have that audio because I was. And what he says, not even the instructor manual, he says this line.
Come on. I've seen Top Gun 100 times.
Top Gun, that qualifies you. Oh, I've watched Doogie Howser. I can do.
Instruction manual in the glove compartment. Glove compartment?
In the glove compartment.
Mexican, this ain't your daddy's El Dorado. Shit. You know what? This looks like something. Hey, Jesus Christ, man.
This looks like something.
My boy knows how to play.
Just because he pulled on the throttle and it went up, or like in any case it goes down, you go, man, look at this guy, he can fly a plane. Okay, that's something. But when they're going to land the plane, he doesn't know where the landing gear button is.
He pushes every single button and switch that was on that plane, thinking like, that's gonna but I wonder, like on a plane, is everything's labeled? There's nothing that says wheels.
God, I would hope it's labeled for the chance of that. I've never been in a cockpit. My buddy's a pilot. I should ask him. But like, dude, I would hope it's labeled. I hope it's not 40 blinking light or 100 blinking lights like they show in movies, like an airplane, and it's just like, Okay, you better remember what the green one is versus.
Well, that's
the
what I mean. Like,
red one.
if God forbid anything happens and you get like severe turbulence and you got to land and you're like panicking, you want to make sure everything's as easy as possible. You know, when you're under stress and panic, sometimes you can't think, straight. So, do you want to push the wrong button to make the plane spin? Or whatever. Like, like you push a button and the windshield wipers go on for the plane or whatever. You're like.
I hope they don't have a spin cycle button. Shit, you touch that button and it's just
do planes have wipers?
Is there maybe bird shit?
I mean, why not? I mean, if it's raining, how are you supposed to see? I'm being serious. What do they do for like windshield? If we have any pilots listening, can you explain how a pilot, when it's raining and I've flown in rainy weather, how do they see out of the windshield?
How do you pick up your buddy? How do you see where a parking space is? Hey, I can't see over there.
Or do they just basically keep going higher until it stops raining?
Yeah. Okay, too high. They start like floating. We're a little too high. But no, so they're doing this. How about when they're crashing? Okay, when they're like quote unquote trying to land with no landing gear. And how about the perfectly stacked oil barrels?
Well, not only the perfectly stacked, but the fact that they found like a runway basically to land the plane. Out of everywhere they're going, they found this long enough for the plane to like keep going, and then the barrels, and he hits them every time.
It explodes, no damage to the plane. Really, like we don't see like that much damage when it lands, and then when they finally like actually, after skidding on dirt for so long, they're not injured, they're fine. He says, "Thank you for flying Mexican Airlines."
Ridiculous.
God, so good.
And you would you would think so. Those guys are chained to the bottom of the seat. You would think that their arms are ripped off their bodies.
Oh, they're dead. Yes.
So besides dead, they're just gonna be arms handcuffed to the bottom, because there's no way they're surviving just hanging there like that.
That'd have been funny if they go back and they're like, "Oh
and
man,
just arms."
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gone. But at the same time, John Amos, this is what we mentioned before, he went to the sheriff's office. He was looking for the sheriff, and he found the perfectly placed fax that was sitting on the sheriff's top of his garbage. He didn't even like pour anything on it or like
nothing.
Put it in different...
Okay, everybody crumples up garbage and throws it away. Like, no, I don't think anyone ever. If you get a piece of paper and you have a waste paper, that's the purpose of a waste paper basket. It's so small, so you'd be able to fit. You crumple up the ball and you throw it in there. No one puts it just laying on top like that.
No.
And that's what he does.
Not at all.
Okay.
And then he sees it. Oh, that's my daughter's handwriting. Oh, this guy's shady. Let's make sure. And he sees the address of the warehouse.
How does he see how does she know the address of the warehouse?
She like looked it up on the computers for some dumb. I don't know why it was there, but she looked it up on like maps, like where am I or something, and she was able to figure it out from that.
Maybe it was on the homepage.
It was on the
picture of the.
Your bad guy location is.
You are here. Here's your cell, and here's your. In case anyone's looking for you, here's the address.
Yeah. If you're kidnapped, maybe that's a Google website. Google search, "I'm kidnapped. Where am I?" Oh, here you are. Okay. Boom. Hey Siri, where am I being held captive? Oh my God. But so this is where they get out of the car. I mentioned the line that Bernie says that he's worried about werewolves and alligators. But did you notice what he said when they found the motorcycle with the sidecar? He says, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like,
no.
What did he hear? And then I wrote, was the sidecar running? Like, what did he hear? Because he said, "Do you hear that?" And he did like a peer over Trejo's shoulder. And then they looked at it and it was covered, almost fully covered of the tarp, because they were almost full,
which clearly nothing happened to it while it crashed. But the keys would just be sitting there too.
Yeah. You never know when you gotta go. Maybe they plan for. Maybe the pilot of the plane has really bad diarrhea. He has stomach issues, and he was ready to make sure, like, hey guys, I've been having something lately. When I land the cargo plane, if I go, I gotta go. So he can just they don't have to look for the keys.
Okay.
Already in there, ready to go.
Okay. All right. Again, I don't know why it's a motorcycle with a sidecar in this old school plane, but you know, I mean, it is pretty funny to see Danny Trejo sit in the sidecar like a little child with the big Danny Glover and on the motorcycle. It looks so ridiculous. He really looked like a little kid. Like that's
It's better that they did that. Maybe they were gonna do them ride like back to back on a motorcycle, but they were like, "No, I'm not doing that." Like Trejo was like, "I'm not doing that." And
but
like,
you know what
right,
though? It also would have been funny having Danny Glover in the sidecar because he's so big.
His knees sticking out, he can't even fit in it. That actually would have been really funny. But yeah, and then they're in traffic. So wherever this warehouse is in a very like high traffic area.
But they were on a plane for a while. How far are they from the warehouse from where the plane took off?
Far, I would think. I don't know. It seemed like it was at least say even 10 minutes in a plane.
But
what's
10 minutes in a plane? How many miles?
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah, 250 miles an hour. Even in 10 minutes,
well, listen,
they're going 40 miles.
The way he crashed, he went about 100 miles by sliding all the way down there. So the fact that, like, one, there was, I guess, a full tank of gas in this motorcycle that just happened to be sitting there. But the fact that they were on a side dirt road. They worked their way to a main road, but they were able to find the warehouse. Like that was like, how did they find that? And again, how did they get there for being so far away?
Yeah, no, the fact that they were in traffic and he goes, use the shoulder. He uses the shoulder, and then there's 2 times in this movie this happens. At the very end, but when he goes, use the shoulder, and then he goes to the shoulder, and then okay, they're there. They're outside. They're standing outside. They're surveying, and they see how many bad guys are with the AK, the machine guns. And then I thought it was really funny. The henchman that came out there was a fan of theirs.
Again, just shows you the quality of these henchmen. How are they like? They're in an open field, right? So they're in an open field. This henchman is like talking to him, knowing even if he's a fan of theirs, he obviously knows he has to kill them and everything else. How do they not see John Amos walking there? Because they looked surprised when he was there. Oh, it's an open field. It's an open field. Like,
and I love that nobody else heard them. Again, there's no sound. There's no like noise pollution around, so they couldn't hear like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of the badasses." Wouldn't that guy be like, "Hey, I got 2 over here"? Nothing.
No walkie-talkies or anything. You know. Yeah. These are bad guys.
Bad guys. Saying it. But I do like John Amos's line. Lights out, ho. He knocked him out with a hoe. Because he's a pacifist. He doesn't want to use a gun.
But you know what, though? Honestly, out of the 3 of them, he's the biggest badass out of all of them.
He kind of is, yeah.
He really is. I mean,
he's the only one that actually kills people, right? Do the other ones actually kill people?
I feel like, what's his face? Trejo does nothing except he fights the bad guy at the end. But up to that point, Amos did everything. Like Trejo's real. Like I said, Trejo didn't even have a gun. He didn't use a gun. I wonder if that's something from the first movie that he refuses to use a gun, and he only uses his fists.
Yeah, maybe it's something like that, or maybe he doesn't believe in using guns because I don't know if he uses guns in any of his movies. Really,
right. That is true. Well, he uses a machete. That's okay. Machete's okay, but not a gun.
Yeah. But I do love when they're really quiet. I thought that scene was really funny because still at this point you don't think John Amos is going to use a gun, and then they're being really quiet. They're like, "Okay, I got 2 over here. What are we going to do?" John Amos goes, and he's just like walking like an old Western and just mowing down every freaking guy that walks out.
See, I thought that Danny Glover was going to fart because he always has that stomach issue. And that would have got the attention, and then John Amos would have started mowing people down. Like I honestly thought something like the way the comedy's been going in this movie, I figured, and then Trejo looks at him, he's like, and Glover's like, "Listen, I still got a stomach ache," kind of thing. That would have been funny. I thought that was what was going to happen.
Yeah. And then they go get Lonnie Love out, so she's out. And this is where we see the big reveal. Her fiance, Jeffrey, can walk, and he's British.
I was going to say, and he has an accent.
Yeah. Was that more of a twist that he was British?
So I figured he was involved somehow. I didn't know he can walk. So that was a twist. You know, I wasn't surprised, but I would think that's got to be hard to do. If again, I don't know how long was Lonnie with him?
It wasn't long. I feel like it was like 6 months or 2 months.
But
no,
I would
6
think,
weeks or 2 months. Not long. Yeah.
Wouldn't you think it'd be hard to hide that you can't walk?
Oh, it would be so hard to like. Yeah, you'd have to.
I mean,
like,
listen,
mess up sometimes.
if she rolled on top of him and landed on his knee, he's gonna say "ow." You know, clear like it. You know, I just feel like I don't know. Shame on her if she couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Like, there's people that like are married to people. Like, there was that one story. I always think of that one of that guy that had two families, like one in New York and one in Chicago, and he had like each spouse. He had kids and everything, and they were like convinced that he was just working a week in New York, week in Chicago. But he was working a week in those cities, but he had like all these different families.
Different families. Yeah.
So the fact that was a thing, but in this, she didn't know that his British accent didn't slip. We've covered movies where the actors,
yeah,
like like you curse. That's when like accents come out, you know. You have somebody that's Southern, maybe they have like they adapt it, they curse, maybe something comes out. With him, he doesn't say like crumpets.
That or just by accident move your leg. Does it get an itch? Does it something like whatever? It just
Well, he's
it's
not
just
paralyzed. He's not paralyzed from the waist.
How do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, he can't walk. You don't see him walk any at all. I would
true.
assume he was paralyzed because that's why he was wheeling everywhere.
Okay.
All right.
Oh
Well,
my-
if he's not paralyzed, then fine.
He starts like his leg twitches. He has an itch. Oh my God, honey, it's a miracle. Thank you, Lord. That'd be really funny. That'd be like if they really went comedy. But from here on out, there was comedy lines, but he was like kind of like a little evil. And his cousin's the sheriff. They reveal that, and he tells like, "I didn't really love you. It was just about the money, the $5 million." And yeah, they do like the old school, like we talked about, bad guys. What do they do? Instead of shooting them right in the head, they're like, it's not like if the cops, even though the sheriff can cover it up, if the cops found 3 bodies handcuffed or rope tied, found in a room, it's not like they were like, all right, natural causes.
Yeah.
There's something fishy they would investigate. So why just put a bullet in their brain?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it.
Bad guys always leave that door open for chance.
Yeah.
Like we discussed that. I forget what movie, and
So
it's
many
like
of them.
so many. Every movie,
Yeah.
they always Beverly Hills Cop and all these whatever it is. They always leave the Indiana Jones. You know, they just don't take care of business, and they leave. Maybe it was Die Hard. Was it Die Hard? I'm trying to think of what movie but we did have a discussion with. I forget what movie.
Well,
it
we
was.
talked about it in the one, even as silly as it was, Iron Eagle 4. Like all this stuff's going on.
Oh.
They give a girl access to a computer in a room that has like this
Yeah.
killer gas.
It just doesn't make sense why they don't just kill. And again, bad guys.
That'd be a great spoof movie. I'm sure they've done spoof movies at action. Wouldn't that be really funny? At like 45 minutes in, they show the bad guy action is like, you know what? I'm not going to tie you up, and just shoots him. And then maybe like they go, the screen goes black, credits starts rolling. He's like, okay, I can't do that because we're only 45 minutes in. Because it is true. There's so many movies like Austin Powers makes fun of it perfectly too. I'm going to put you in this room by yourself. We're not going to watch you. And there's a shake with a shark with laser beams. And then they could only get sea bass.
Every movie does it. It just leaves chance, you know.
But you think they're going to go down. And John Amos is like, I just want to go in peace because all you have is Bernie and Frank sort of like arguing like they're like an odd couple. And then I know where we hear like an engine. And then boom, right through the wall, Ronnie saves the day. Just in time.
I said, just in time. Again, he also knew where to go. Like somehow, so somehow everybody knew, then how much of a hideout is this if everybody knows where it is and how to get there?
That's great. I didn't think about that. How did Ronnie figure it out? Again, throw us exposition, because obviously if we knew that he knew, then we'd be like, oh, he's going to be there, even though we guessed like from earlier in the movie he's going to help out. But maybe if they were in the car, then John Amos is like, oh, I made sure to leave the address I was going to just in case something happened. Nothing like that. No, he just got there just in time. Like you said, the knots. And then I love when they're pulling away. Huge explosion behind them, and they just get away in time.
Just get away. But again, if someone's tied up, it would be difficult to untie those knots. Like you would need like a cutter or something, or like to really like. No, he goes in there and unties them like he's untying a shoe. That's how quick he unties 3, not just 1 rope, 3 ropes in a matter of, I think, 15 seconds. He unties all 3 of them.
He's a pro. He's a pro.
He really is.
So here's the second thing in this movie. Like I was talking about when they drove to the shoulder earlier and magically they're in front of the place. When they put in the GPS, the address that they know where the drop off's going to be, that John Amos's wife is going to be with the $5 million to give over to Jeffrey. When he goes, it's 45 minutes away. We have to be there in 22 minutes. And he goes, well, you better step on it. And what do we get? There wasn't like a little driving anything. It was just next part. We see Jeffrey talking to the wife. She's like, I'm not going to give you the money. And their car pulls up. When we saw the car pull up, I'm like, that can't be them, right? No, it is them. And they run him over and they break his leg.
And there was no building there, right? They're like in the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere, yep.
So what kind of address is in the middle of nowhere?
That is true.
I mean, the fact that they knew, they put it in a GPS, middle of nowhere. He calls the people, which, you know, like I guess the cops and everything else, and the bullies to meet him in the middle of nowhere. How, like, what was the address? The middle of nowhere.
That is true. Unless like his wife gave him like he knew the longitude and latitude to put it in.
I don't think so. He couldn't figure out the GPS in the car. I don't think he's gonna know how to use a compass. So
oh my god, dude. And then the line he says, oh no, what John Amos says when he sees him, he goes, my white baby boy.
Well, back to the car. So here's another thing you see in movies all the time. Someone stands in front of the car as it's speeding at them, and they're shooting at the car, clearly not slowing the car down at all, and they always get hit. Like, this happens all the time. How about, like, go on, like run away from the car, get it out of the, and you could shoot or something, like they stand, like, not moving.
Yeah.
And somehow hope that, you know what, maybe I'll get lucky and shoot the driver and shoot him that he's going to be able to turn the car and not hit me at all. But every movie, they always get hit.
Do the Olay like a bullfighter and then start firing, like when they have to turn around or something. But you're right. Like, even if you shot the guy in the head, do you know the guy that you shoot in the head that's driving? It's not like when he dies, there's something that goes, okay, you're dead now, press the brake. It's still going to be going pretty fast.
And he's not going to be turning the wheel. So it's still going to stay in alignment. It's still going to go straight. So it happens all the time. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Bad guys.
Bad guys. And then we get the sheriff that shows up, and like a little bit of like a battle with him and Trejo. Like, not as much as you want it, but then you get the people that show up just in time. Yeah. So it's all the thing that was crazy. They're wearing like football jerseys, right? A couple of kids were like football.
They were high school students.
I know they were. You're giving them guns?
So you're going to give a bunch of high school guns, but not only giving them guns, because they probably have their own guns. I mean, they're sure, in, Mississippi, whatever. But you're going to bring them to where the bad guys are, not knowing how many machine guns and bad guys that are there. So you're going to bring this whole football team there? Like, that's bad parenting 101.
That cop would be like thrown in jail for life.
Oh,
it was like
ridiculous. Like ridiculous. And he's a cop. There's no other police officers. So he can rely on a high school football team, but he can't, like, there's no police officers that he can bring for backup.
I was thinking he didn't know who he could trust, because if you remember when the sheriff pulled up, there was 2 other cruisers behind him, and those guys were Did you notice them? They were only in the background. It was like kind of blurry because they had the focus on Trejo. But you saw the guys with their guns for the whole time. And then as soon as the sheriff was like knocked out, right? He didn't get killed or anything, right? He was just knocked out.
No, yeah, he got knocked out.
Yeah. So I don't know where you saw like everybody sort of like celebrating, and you see the guys in the background slowly put their guns down, like give up. So I'm like, oh, maybe they were shady. So maybe that detective was like, I don't know who I can trust. I have no idea. But the fact that there were all those kids when they did the panning shot, and you're like, oh my God, these are like teenagers with deadly weapons.
Where are they coming from? They come from behind the hill. Like they're on top of the hill, like as like the Wild West, where like Indians come from, like going surrounding the cowboys, and they're being surrounded. Like, where are they coming from? And there are a lot of kids. How'd they get there? How many cars did they take?
Maybe I mean, there's a lot of questions. Commandeered a random school bus. These weren't even kids that ever wanted to do it. He just made them do it.
And again, we're in the middle of nowhere, so somehow they were able to figure out how to get there as well. So
yeah,
it'd be funny if they all like rode their bikes there.
Yeah. You saw the BMXs and like Razor scooters and stuff like lined up.
It reminded me of was it Better Off Dead? $2? Like when all the kids on the BMXs were on the hill or something. That's what it looked like. It was just all these young kids on the hill.
So crazy. And you have one adult, a detective, is just around them. Like, yeah, this is cool. And Trejo put him in harm's way. He just said, he probably texted him like, hey, we need backup. Here's where we're going to go. And this guy's like, oh, great idea. Let me bring all these children.
Bring a bunch of kids.
So ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they, man, and what saves the day? Fanny pack and the watch.
Okay. So 2 things, and we didn't discuss this before. Why does he have a fanny pack?
I don't know.
He's all in camo. He's all like ready, like he's commandoed, right? I mean, commando goes in camo. He's ready to take on, the bad guys. But he has to have a fanny pack, which never comes into play because they don't tell you what's in there except for the watch that he got.
Well, not even the watch. They must have cut a scene. Do you remember when they were on the plane? When Bernie was hitting on the girl in the beginning,
he had a drink. Was there a drink in there?
No, he grabbed 2 airplane shots, airplane bottles of alcohol, and put them in there. That never came to be anything.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That could have been something in like he was fighting a guy. Maybe they cut it. Maybe he was fighting a guy, and the guy had a lighter, and he throws the thing or something. Nothing.
Does he have fanny packs in the other movies?
I don't know.
Maybe as part of his badass, costume. His gear. And again, we discuss this in every movie that somehow a book stops a bullet, a watch stops a bullet, everything stops a bullet.
Yeah. It just somehow the bullet's like, oh man, watch.
And you know what Trejo says? You shot my fanny pack. That was his line after getting shot.
And that's what angered him. And that's why he won. It was very important. It was near and dear. It was a family heirloom, maybe. Oh my God, man! But so that was really it. And then they're like basically like they want them to stay. Then they go back to the house, Carmen, the family, and this is where the big squeeze of the ass happens.
She gets frisky. She definitely gets frisky. And was Amos there when she does this?
Yeah, he was right next to her. He was right behind her.
Maybe he's a swinger.
Maybe they're swingers, but he's in better shape than. Danny Glover's like not in good shape.
There must be something because clearly women love him. I mean, so there must be. Maybe it's his cologne. Maybe he's wearing that cologne that we were talking about in a mannequin. That it just was it a sporty sexy cologne? Yeah, sexy cologne. So it's
or he's just hung like a moose. I'll go.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that goes with the territory.
Yeah. But yeah, grabs his ass. But I do like the ending when he goes, before you guys go, I need you a few minutes. And I do love that they have a little end credits thing. Badasses in Bangkok.
Badass in Bangkok.
But when he goes, I propose to you guys, and I'll make sure I pay you guys. We just be vigilantes, and we go everywhere. Bueller. There
you go. You're back.
But no, the fact that he proposes that and he's like, you guys don't have to worry about money. I know you got medical bills and your store. We don't want you to give that up. I'll pay you guys a salary, and then we'll just go around and we'll be vigilantes. I'm like, what is this?
Well, I mean, I tried looking it up. I think they're trying to fund the movie or whatever. I don't know if it's a real movie.
I looked it up in like 2016. I saw that there was like no traction on it, but
yeah,
it's a cool. It's something
badass, and then Bangkok.
I don't know about Bangkok. Maybe like another city. Like at least Paul Kersey went like New York, LA. Like he bounced around a little bit, you know.
Maybe Trejo will have a cameo in Lethal Weapon 5.
Maybe that's funny. Just randomly in a suit, just in the suit in the background.
Murtaugh, what have you been up to for the past few years? I've been hanging out with my friend.
Yeah, this freaking guy. Oh my god! But yeah, and then that's it.
Well,
so
and then the gross kissing, and then the makeout scene. Yeah, I mean, so.
But at least he got the first class ticket home. John Amos took.
He did.
Up.
Well, he definitely got the first.
He did. That'd have been a good
like
credit scene too. That'd have been good because we saw obviously them kiss. It'd been good if we saw like the Bangkok, like that whole part. But then we did get. Excuse me, sir, and then we got him.
It would have been good if you see him like if they both come out of the bathroom together. You know, like, but you know they really could have done it without him actually kissing her. I mean, like this poor girl, like you know she barely on screen, 5 minutes maybe total, and like you know they could have done like a quick peck or like almost kiss, and then like he shows the guy the ticket. Like no, I really want you to make out with him. Oh. Like that'd be great. She had.
What if she was like, "I've always loved Danny Glover. I had a thing for Murtaugh when I was a kid.
Yeah, 30 years ago. Okay,
This is my chance." But yeah, she was all about it. She was.
Oh, she was into. Yeah. Okay.
So that was Badasses on the Bayou. Jamie, would you recommend somebody watch this movie? We had fun talking about it. Not too many groans. You barely groaned during the.
No, I didn't groan. I mean, I'm surprised
45.
I'm surprised we almost got 2 hours out of this. We got way more than I expected out of this. You know, I don't know. If I remember correctly, the first one is like, you know, like a death wish, you know, and I think it's just, you know, if you're going looking for like a death wish action kind of movie, this is not it. I just don't see the chemistry. I think it's forced chemistry, and Danny Trejo as a part of a sidekick, it just doesn't work for me. I don't know. I would say no. I don't think it's worth watching. It's not terrible. It has some moments, but there's better movies to watch. I mean, watch the first one. I don't think you need to see this one.
Yeah, no, I would say again, if people are like, if you're in for like to see these two guys, because I don't think you'll ever, like, I know they talk about that there's a Lethal Weapon 5 filming. I don't know if I've ever read that. It was like 100% confirmed that they're actually
No, it
doing
is.
it.
I think it
really?
is. So
okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. But if you want something in between to see Murtaugh as like a horny old man, his wife maybe left him, but yeah. No, it was fun. It was fun to discuss. Yeah.
Again, it's one of those movies that it's an hour and a half. There's a lot of movies you could see. This one, I'm not going to put it as like one of the top worst movies we've seen, but it's just a movie. I don't think it's necessary. I think watch the first one. First one has the story, and then it just goes silly from there.
Yeah, there wasn't like a ton of memorable moments.
Like I said, there's not a lot. Like even the fights. First of all, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I don't know when the first one came out, but Trejo looks old, right? And so like even the fighting with him, it looks like old man punching. You know, it just doesn't. You know, it just doesn't like. I don't know. It didn't do it for me at all.
Yeah, they pumped like the 3 out within 3 years. I think.
Yeah,
they were like pretty quick. So.
Okay, well, it makes sense.
But yeah, so yeah, that was Badass on the Bayou. So coming up, me and Jamie, if you remember a few months back, we were talking about some of the movies that we have coming up, but
I'm giving you a hall pass.
A what?
A what?
A what?
A hall pass.
So I'm using my hall pass. We have some great interviews coming up. I talked to director Sam Irving, but that'll be in a few weeks. And there's a movie coming out that me and Jamie hasn't watched any of them. And I think, I picked the perfect one for us to do.
Oh no!
And this is the trailer right here.
I have a feeling I know what I know what series it is. I know. I know what series it is. I knew it. I knew it. Oh my gosh.
Ready.
I won't play the
can't
whole
believe you-
trailer for you guys, but if you want to watch it, see next week you're gonna back-to-back reviews because the movie's coming out, the 10th one that they're doing, which is pretty remarkable that there's a number 10 out of these. But yeah, so it'll be
You ain't in control.
Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which is funny. This movie in the timeline is really like the 7th one or like 6th one, like when you put everything back to back. But yeah, I've seen 2 of them. I saw the first one, and I saw this one. That's it.
That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this real quick. I never throw off movies. I threw off the first one twice, and then finally did see it. And then the only other one I saw is the one with Jason Statham and The Rock, which is basically a spin-off.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I've never watched any of them except for the first one, and I knew you were gonna do this. Oh, I hate this series.
I was thinking the movie's coming out. It's gonna be the biggest. It's gonna be huge. The movie's
Okay, so don't be
make
surprised that I'm gonna hate this movie when I watch it. So I'm just giving you a warning, which I'm sure everybody's gonna know that yes, this is not gonna be one of my favorites.
money. This movie has a line that me and my buddies quote to each other. I think a bunch of my buddies have seen all of them, but there's a line in this movie. I'm telling you, it's so funny. I don't even want to spoil it, but yeah. So Tokyo Drift. So that is going to be the next sequel, and then after that, it'll be director Sam Irving, and then after that, we're going to cover Oblivion 2, which is really cool, like sci-fi western that he did that has a phenomenal cast. And yeah, so another review next week, which would be fun. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast, follow us on all social media at Sequels Only, and don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.